Nestled in a secluded valley on the Wiltshire-Somerset border in southwest England, Iford Manor boasts one of Britain's most beautiful historic gardens. During my visit, I'll be in deep water with the head gardener, Troy.
Is there a snake in here?
Yeah.
What? What?
Getting artistic in the kitchen with head chef, Jack.
Look at that.
And enjoying the glorious British summer weather with William.
I'm coming back! This is crazy! When I married into the British aristocracy, it was the start of a wonderfully exciting journey. But it was also a little daunting. I became a Viscountess, and for an American girl from a small town outside Chicago, that was quite a shock.
I live with my husband, Luke, heir to the Earl of Sandwich, and our family at Mapperton House in Dorset.
Living in a place like this is a joy, but also a challenge. And every day, we're aware that we're preserving a very special part of Britain's heritage. Mapperton has opened up an extraordinary new world for me, and I can't wait to share it with you all.
So if you love castles and manors and stately homes as much as I do, please join this American Viscountess as I journey into the British countryside in search of some of Britain's finest historic houses.
I'm here at Iford Manor today, and I'm visiting our great friends, William and Marianne. I've been to the house before, but I've never properly explored the gardens, so that is what I'm about to do. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Good
So
to see
nice
you.
to see you.
Yeah.
Now, am I just about to walk under the Iford Wisteria?
Well, it's certainly one of them, but it's the earliest. This is about 1820s. Wisteria only came to the UK in 1815. So this is definitely one of those very early plants, and it has an amazing scent, and it produces amazing flowers, and it's very happy on the south face of the Bath Stone.
So I'm just trying to do my maths here. So basically, this is 200 years old. Yeah. You know, the American in me, I need to date everything. I need to find out if it's older than my country or not. I mean, but 200 years old, incredible.
It's an awesome plant.
All right,
anyway,
I'm going to remember this moment.
let's go get your coffee.
Okay, great. Well, you've picked a really lovely day for me to come.
Thank you. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing me here when the sun is shining. So tell me a little bit more about why your gardens are so special.
Well, they've got a very rich history. They go back to medieval times when this was a rich factory owner's house with a factory at the other end. It was two buildings. And then it was really the Georgians who did the terraforming. So all the terraces you see behind us
Yes.
and up into the hills, those are Georgian terraces. We're talking between 1730, I suppose, and 1820, that sort of period. And the Georgians were the great builders, weren't they? They didn't think twice about just cutting in and building something new. And then it's Harold Peto who comes in 1899 down the hill over there on his bicycle. And he's looking for somewhere to settle down, looking for the perfect house. And here he finds this jewel of a little sort of smart Georgian villa at the bottom of a steeply wooded hill facing south and with a little stream, a river in front. And I think when you look out that way, you kind of sense maybe he felt he was on the north shore of Lake Como. Or maybe Lake Garda,
You're
or
right.
somewhere like that.
Yes,
You know, he was in the sort of Villa Bellagio, looking out over his beautiful, glistening lakeside, but crucially setting it in England, his beloved England, because he was an Edwardian Englishman.
So he's really the creator of these gardens.
He's the augmenter.
Right, he's the augmenter.
He takes a Georgian garden and plays with it and turns it into something else. He's not a capability brand sweeping everything away to create something new. He is somebody who augments, who builds another layer of history for another one to come on top of him. That's us. And another one on top of us. And it's that extraordinary rich sort of sandwich, I suppose you would say.
Well, I like that word.
Of course you would. But, you know, that extraordinary sandwich, the filling is getting bigger. And I suppose the failure is when you're the one who puts the top on the sandwich.
Yeah.
Because you're not continuing
You're not continuing
You're wrapping it up.
Yep, exactly. Well, my husband wanted me to mention to you that we do have a connection. And I don't know if you're aware of this.
I'm not.
But my father-in-law, Sandwich,
Yes.
speaking of Sandwich, so the 11th Earl of Sandwich, my father-in-law's mother was Rosemary Peto.
How extraordinary.
Yeah, so her great uncle was Harold.
I've always wondered whether Harold Peto had an influence or vice versa, or knew Mapperton.
Exactly.
I've always wondered that.
Because Mapperton's Italianate Gardens were created by Ethel Labouchere, and they were created over 7 years, from 1920 to 1927. So Harold Peto was still around,
He
right?
was definitely around. He died in 1933. He would have been, I would think by that stage in his career, advising.
Yes.
Rather than doing. He was in his 60s and early 70s. But I bet he went
know.
to visit. I bet he went there. These gardens are 20 years prior. So this is 1900 to 1910. The Cloister, which we'll see later, is 1914.
Right.
Pretending to be 1215, because nothing you see in this garden is quite as it seems. Don't trust anything.
Don't
That's
trust
my
anything.
best piece of advice for this garden.
The gardens at Iford may largely be the brainchild of one man, but it's William's parents, Elizabeth and John Cartwright Hignett, who have lovingly kept Harold Peto's vision alive for the past 50 years.
My mother came to Iford in 1965. She bought Iford from a nephew of Harold Peto, and she basically spent 50 years restoring Iford. I mean, she picked it up as a 25-year-old single woman.
What?
Which is kind of, in the 60s is kind of crazy.
So your mother bought Iford, aged 25,
Yep.
and took over the running of it.
That's right. I mean, she was moving her family from an enormous house called Ayno Park. Beautiful
Yeah,
Sir
yeah,
John
yeah, of
Soane
course.
house. Moved down here, bit of a downsizing, if you can call it that. Still, downsizing nevertheless. And so she moved in. She married my father in 1979. I think it was probably one of the best things that happened to Iford in the last 50 years, because he then poured his energies into this garden for 40 years and restored the buildings and the structures, so that now we're in a position to take it on for the next 50 years.
Exactly. So you grew
in
up
better
here.
conditions.
You
Yeah,
grew
I
up
did.
here watching your parents run this.
Exactly right.
Because this is, you know, not only is this a lot to take on, of course, but the gardens. So the gardens are what people come and see. And I actually
Yes.
haven't seen them yet. So what I want to do right now is go and explore these.
Let's go have a
Maybe
look
get my
around.
hands a little bit dirty too.
Absolutely. Great.
I think that's an interesting thing.
This one piece will make 52 layers.
Watch on mobile devices or the big screen. All for free. No subscription required.
Harold Peto called these gardens paradise, and I can see why.
I'm having a little wander, and there's just so much to see. I mean, this garden is, you know, terraced on so many different levels. And when you go from one level to the next, it completely changes.
The gardens are planted over 2.5 acres and are tended by a team of gardeners and volunteers who keep them in full bloom.
It is incredible. It's just magical. And there's so many places dotted around the gardens that you can just find a spot, sort of contemplate, because it's so peaceful, it's serene, the smells are incredible. And again, it's just an opportunity to find a spot, sit down, and just be. I'm heading up to see Troy, the head gardener. Troy is obviously an expert here at Iford. I kind of don't know where I'm going, but I'm gonna head up the path right here. Hi.
Hello.
Oh my goodness, I found you.
Yes.
I'm now in the Japanese garden, is that right?
Japanese or Oriental
Or
garden?
Oriental. There's so many different layers of this garden. I mean, and I don't just mean by the way that it's built up. There are so many different sort of compartments, I guess, if you like.
What I find fascinating here is you literally walk 6 yards behind you and you've travelled like 6,000 miles to Europe. That's like the Roman Appian way, and here we are in Japan.
Right, that's where I just was. So why is it that there are so many, what was it with Harold Peto? He purposely did this to create these sort of different elements throughout.
Yeah. It was a genius, I think, you know, because there's these moments, but he doesn't try to separate them. They're very much linked, but it feels still effortless. You know, it doesn't feel awkward moving from one space to the other.
No.
I don't know how he manages to achieve that, because it's one of the most difficult aspects of garden design, if you like, the transitions. But I mean, he went to all these places, so he travelled to Japan, I think in about 1895, very early on, really. He spent a few weeks there and brought back, obviously, the ideas and some of the things that he saw there.
Right, so this is kind of like a little grand tour. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what it kind of feels like when I walk around. So, Troy, tell me, how long have you been here as head gardener?
So I've been here just about 2 years as head gardener. But I mean, I've known Iford for a long time. It's the way it nestles in the landscape so beautifully was the first thing that struck me. I used to walk along the river about 25 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
So it's lovely to be here now in the garden.
In the garden. Okay, so you probably get asked this all the time, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you have a favorite part of the garden?
I think it is probably here.
Oh,
I think
good.
It is. I think there's something different about this space. You know, it's not about the obvious.
Right.
It's about the orchestration of the greens, the dappled light, the sound of the water there, the coolness, the temperature changes dramatically, you know, just stepping into this space. So, yeah, I think here is one of my favourite places.
It's got all those elements. So what can I do to help you?
Well, today I'm cutting these irises down today. These are a lovely Japanese water iris, but I think I'm okay continuing with that.
Okay.
What would be really useful, if you don't mind getting into the water.
I love water.
Okay,
I love doing.
well.
I mean, like, how far do you want me to go?
Well, it would be really nice to. I've got a net. We can skim off all of this kind of floating leaves, which would be lovely.
Fantastic. Well, did you lay these out for me?
I did.
Oh, excellent.
I thought you
gosh.
might.
I have to have waders on. I'm so excited. So I'm going to put these on. Now,
I'll grab the net.
Great. Okay, fantastic. So
Super.
I'm just going to put these on. There we go. How do I look? All right, Troy, I'm ready. So
Those wobble, those ones.
okay, but I'm going. I am going in. I'm
stepping
going in. I'm stepping into the unknown. Okay, that's a bit. Okay, I'm stepping in. Okay. Okay, there we go. Me and water. We do like each other. Yeah, it's.
Watch the deep bit.
Where's the deep bed? Okay. Okay. So I'm just all this.
Yes, please.
Okay. All this. Okay. Super.
Just like a surface skim.
Surface, so a little bit higher up.
Yeah, and probably the net a bit more horizontal. So that's it. Yeah,
Like-
and just kind of drop in and then.
So it's not over the edge. I think that was my issue. Okay, that's not a very good job. Do you want
Perfect.
me to?
That's
Really?
okay.
Okay, so
Yeah,
now
and
where do
then
I put
sort
it?
of swivel round and flick it onto the edge.
I'm just curious. They don't have any holes in them, do they? It's feeling a bit. It's feeling a bit cold. Okay, so so it's like a pancake, right?
Yeah.
Okay. On here.
Yeah. Thank you.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
And you just carry on.
And then I don't have
Yeah,
to flip it back
that's
around.
fine, no.
Okay, so I'm gonna go under here. Okay, great. Okay. So how fast do you normally do this?
Well, we like to do it every week, and probably about 2 hours. So it's quite a commitment. But I think that surface, the clarity of the water,
Yeah.
Quite important, and because we're in there, we are stirring it up, but that all settles.
That all settles, the stirrup. Okay, yeah, wow, wow. Okay, so I'm gonna be here, Troy, for like 2 hours.
Yeah. So we've got the weeds, the leaves here, but also some of that blanket weed as well, which.
Okay,
Which
so I am
develop-
trying to get the leaves in, yes?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I see a dragonfly there.
Oh, so much wildlife. It's great in here. This year we've seen so many things. There's frogs, toads, newts, snakes.
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again. Wait, are there, no, I'm fine with frogs, I'm fine with toads, fine with newts, I swim with them. Snakes, I have an issue. Are there snakes in here?
We've seen snakes swimming in here.
Okay.
The safe ones, they're only grass snakes.
They're just grass. I didn't know grass
I think.
snakes could. You think, Troy? you're putting me into snakes. I do have a fear of snakes and cows, but they're not like gonna attack me, right?
You just might scoop one up in your net.
What? What? Shut up. Is there a snake in here? Oh my gosh. I think. Stephen, did you really see a snake? You did. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm really bad at this. Sorry, Troy.
I'm visiting Iford Manor, known for its beautiful historic gardens. I'm meeting head gardener Troy Scott Smith and lending a helping hand in the Japanese garden.
Troy.
Hello again.
So what are you planting here?
These are wonderful little plant. Look at that. It's called Roscoa. It's a Japanese plant.
Oh.
Roscoa auriculata. Lovely open purple trumpets. So we're just going to put these around here. So
Fantastic. And do you do these every year?
they're perennial. No, they
they're
last over time.
Oh,
yeah.
they'll last. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So-
yeah, just a case of digging that hole where you are.
Okay.
That'd be great.
My mother-in-law has this brilliant line that she says, people come to visit a house once,
Oh,
but they
yes,
come to visit
yeah.
the gardens
Yes.
4 times a year through the seasons.
yeah.
And do you feel that as well here?
Yeah. I mean, Iford's, I think, a bit special because it doesn't necessarily rely on the horticulture.
Right.
So, it's the setting. So in winter's beautiful. I really like the play of light in winter on the structure, on the soft bath stone we have here. And then in spring and summer, of course, you get all the loveliness from the blossom. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you love winter, and then as spring arrives, you love spring, and then summer, and
it's true.
you love summer.
This is the draw. People come to Iford for the gardens. And you as head gardener, why do you think that is?
It has got something unique, I think. But I think it is that sense of arrival. When you arrive, it's unexpected. You come down these steep-sided valleys. It's nestled in the valley floor, the river, fast-flowing river running just by its doorstep. And I think all that adds to that somehow the drama. And then you come into the garden and this very unexpected sense of the Tuscan hillside, the Italian garden, the Oriental garden, all nestled in this vernacular. And
Yeah.
it is something about that which I think is the special sense of Iford.
Later, I'll be heading over to the kitchen to help prepare afternoon tea. But first, I need to pick some rather special flowers, which apparently are tasty too.
Well, we've got lots of flowers here, particularly this part of Iford. But what we've got over here is actually some pots, which are probably perfect for you. They've
Okay,
got
fantastic.
violets and all sorts of things in. So let me show you those.
Yeah, because I want to make sure, obviously, I think we're going to top them onto some cakes.
Well,
So-
these would be fun, wouldn't they?
Yeah, beautiful, and the colors.
These are a little violet called
These are
tricolour.
okay, so here's the thing. When I just need to pick it from the top, is that right?
Well, I think probably for
Yeah.
eating you would, but for the garden, if you can pinch it right down.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask you. So,
And then you can just take the top. I don't suppose you want to eat the stalk, but yeah. So, and actually, these you can eat as well.
what?
These daylilies, you can eat them.
You're kidding
Whether
me.
you be brave enough, but you can eat them seriously. So
Have you eaten them before?
No.
Okay.
But you can. I wouldn't joke about such
Okay.
a serious thing, really. So, yeah, these or the buds would be lovely.
You can eat the buds.
Shall we try now?
I think we should try one right now.
Shall we? It seems a shame
Okay,
to,
this is it.
take the flower. There we go.
Okay, it is a shame to take the flower. Okay,
Shall we just go for it?
All right, on the count of 3.
Yeah, go on.
1, 2,
Three.
3.
Actually, okay.
Actually, really nice.
Actually, not bad.
It tastes like something.
I really didn't know what to expect.
These are really nice. There's.
I'll do that again.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Oh my goodness.
So you can help yourself to all of those.
I'm gonna basically. You're gonna come back tomorrow, and all of these are gonna be gone.
I'll leave you to it then.
Okay, great. Thanks, Troy,
That's okay.
so much.
See you again.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, that was delicious. I might have to have another one. Yeah, he's gone. Okay, I'll pick like this really small one here so it goes unnoticed. It's actually really delicious. I have to get that. If there's a flavor that's coming through and I can't quite get it, it'll come to me later. Right now, I've got to pick. So see, that's why I asked that question to Troy. Like, so I knew that obviously edible flowers, it's just the flower. But see, from a gardener's point of view, he was like, no, you've got to pick it from, you know, the stem all the way down so that you don't ruin the plant. Right, I think this will be enough for the kitchen. Also, just remember that you need to be with somebody who knows about what flowering plants are edible. So I trusted Troy, he's a head gardener, he's an expert, and he knows what's edible. Definitely don't just pick up a flower and eat it. Know for sure if it's edible.
After a glorious morning in the garden, this happened. Traditional British summer weather made a dramatic appearance. And so it rained. And rained.
Okay, are we
Reckon? Are we going to go for it?
Are we gonna go? No. Are you really?
Oh, come on.
You're gonna give
Come
me
on,
a
it
tour of the
dries
garden
off when
in
you get
this?
home. It dries
What?
off when you get home. Come on, go.
I'm coming back. This is crazy. Get back. Get back.
Oh my god. Okay, so that was a good garden tour, so I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Oh my goodness.
Armed with William's meteorological optimism, as well as umbrellas, we set off.
Okay, right, now in the context of English weather, this is not raining.
Okay, but
Okay.
it is raining.
It is not raining.
William, it's raining.
Imagine, it is not raining. Imagine the azure sky that Mr. Peto saw when he arrived at Iford.
It is.
It is not raining. Come on, you've got a brolly.
Wait, so
Let's go.
I'm not gonna. You don't want me to put this up?
I'm not wearing.
Okay. All right. All right. Oh my goodness.
Wellington boots are all you need. And you oh, here's Busy. Look, has she got an umbrella?
No.
She has no umbrella.
She doesn't.
Lovely Georgian terraces, upgraded by Harold Peto. So they were Georgian because they needed a garden for recreation.
Right.
Invite the rector around, get your friends round, you know the rest of it. And they wanted to show off the valley.
And they wanted to show.
But then.
because they're all about showing off.
But
the
you're
Georgians.
right, absolutely. So then here is this lovely conservatory terrace where they are integrating the conservatory of the house with the
Yes.
garden. Very much
Yes.
a grand tour idea.
Look at Busy right here.
Yeah,
So she is happily.
Well, it's
sort
her
of
garden,
just-
right?
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
her garden.
So
right?
all these little terraces constricting our space, giving us a shooting glance, and then up to the main garden above, through this set of steps. And then at the top, you come through this arch,
Yes.
and you see this a cathedral of space above, this amazing plane tree. I mean, look up there, isn't that spectacular?
Yeah, that-
1779 that was planted to commemorate
Our independence, nearly.
the birth of Thomas Gaisford. But nevertheless,
It's close, 1776.
perfectly reasonable
I'll take
guess.
it. Yeah.
Thomas Gaisford ended up as a dean of Christ Church, Oxford. He lived here. He was a great Greek scholar, the Regius Professor at 31, bright cookie. And he lived here, he wrote his sermons on the Great Terrace. He was a great one for the Grand Tour, so he brought cypresses in here, even as early as the Georgian period, this was known for its cypress walks. And then as we round this wonderful corner, we sort of, you can't really see where you're going. And then you arrive at this representation of effectively a Tuscan hillside. So here, if you look up, you've got this wonderful tree form of juniper, the cypresses, you've got rosemaries, old rosemaries with their woody stems, really redolent of trips to the Mediterranean. And the thing about this garden is that it is essentially a series of memories, but they're not Mr. Peto's memories, although they were. They're actually your memories, they're my memories. They're things which trigger a memory in us. And we go, oh, that's a bit like when I went to insert holiday that you had when you were 9 or whatever. And that's the point of these fragments of masonry. And then if you look at this end, to this little patio, which is, I think, redolent of those Cordoban or Sevillian patios. You know, when you see down a corridor and there's a pool of light at the end.
Yes.
There's sort of the coolness of that central patio in a house amid the chaos of the city. And this is that cool, safe, quiet space.
Yes, it is.
Planted up with lush foliage, scented plants. Can you smell that?
I absolutely. Well, what am I smelling here? Am I smelling Tuscany?
You're smelling, I suppose, the south of Spain, Tuscany, sages, you've got geraniums, you've got all of those lovely scented plants, and crucially, the sound of water, which leads you on. You hear it before you see it. It draws you through a garden, and that's the genius of Peto, to place water in places that makes you want to find out where it came from.
Where it came from.
I love his little fern too.
Wonderful. Cool? The fern is fantastic.
It's like a hairstyle.
Yeah, it is. It is. A little bit Medusa.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
love
It's
that.
better when it's earlier, it's just coming out. So essentially, Peto is creating a garden, an international garden, but he's not doing it in the sense that here's the French bit, here's the Italian Renaissance bit, here's the Roman bit. Here he's intermingling everything. If you drew a Venn diagram of all of the world's cultures, all of the kind of the bits that they all thought were beautiful, this is the intersection of that beauty.
How wonderful.
And then you come into this little pool with a little garden, perhaps Pompeian, the sort of thing you see at the back of a house in Pompeii.
Absolutely. Yes.
A little bit of water. Kick the kids out, go and play Ludo or whatever they played, abacus at the back of their house in Pompeii.
And so this is, and now I'm just seeing, I mean, we've only been through just a fraction of the garden, but there is water everywhere.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a crucial element of the garden because it really creates life in a garden space, doesn't it? That sound of water is constant, it's always there, it's ever moving, it creates a sense of energy. And as we look up, there's this little quirk here which I rather like. Peto hated asymmetry. He took the false wing off the manor because he didn't, because the Georgians had, of course, had to have a symmetrical house, and Peto hated symmetry, so he takes the wing off. But here he has 15 of these beautiful terracotta tiles, and he places them 5, 6, and 4. I don't know a single designer who would ever do that. It shouldn't work, and yet it does. And what it does is it creates an ability for him to create an asymmetrical space beneath. You wouldn't know it, but the walls aren't square, nothing lines up, because nothing ever lines up at Iford. It's all a bit of a fudge. That's the key. And this is his magnificent terrace.
This is incredible. This is the wow moment right here.
It kind of is.
This is wow.
It is. This is what I think he wanted you to just
oh
stop and take
goodness.
it in.
This is just magical.
So this is a representation of the Appian Way coming out of Pompeii on its way out, with the cart tracks and all of that, passing monuments and sarcophaguses and orchi and.
I mean, I'm actually forgetting that I'm in England right now. I honestly am. That's literally what I was thinking.
Okay. So then you've got lovely English roses up the columns, which gives the sort of whimsy. You've got Romulus and Remus, which is the last copy taken from the Capitoline. So that's very much the influence of Rome right at the heart of the garden. But then look out through the colonnades and you get this incredible setting of the landscape. And it is the borrowed landscape, shake. He learnt this in Japan when he was there in 1898.
Shake, what does that mean?
Shake is the borrowed landscape. It is setting your garden in the context of its surroundings. So it's the opposite of what Roman theory does, which is build a forum and a safe space and everyone looks in.
Yes.
The Japanese are building something to look out.
To look
Much
out.
more of an outward-looking gardening style. And as a result, you're constantly with this balance of the foreground and the space that you're in. It's like a basilica, isn't it? With a half round
absolutely it is.
And then the outward view, and there's another out to the countryside.
Fantastic.
So everything is always in balance. And the internationalism is the other key here, which is that he wasn't going out in a sort of 18th century British Empire way and saying, you know, we really ought to be more British. You should be more British, you'll appreciate it, you'll love it. He wasn't doing that. He was going out to see what everyone else could teach him. This was a magpie for ideas. He wanted to learn. He went to Japan for 10 weeks to learn ikebana, to learn flower arranging, to learn about the placement of objects, to learn about shake. All of these amazing concepts were completely alien to the West.
learn and then bring them back
and
here.
then to use for his clients.
Right. Incredible.
The love and respect which William and his family have for Harold Peto's vision here is so inspiring. And clear to see as we arrive at the Japanese garden, where thankfully the water has settled after my wading efforts.
Originally, Peto wanted a Japanese garden here.
So this is not Peto?
Not fully, no. I mean, originally he'd built his shelter.
Right.
Do step up onto here, there's a lovely view.
Okay.
He built his shelter, he'd bought his pagoda and his lanterns.
Yeah.
And he had found, with his workmen, the rather wonderful rock at the far side, which is, of course, representative of
Mount Fuji.
Mount Fuji.
Fantastic.
There you are. So it's that representation of the really important things that the Japanese hold dear to them. And Mount Fuji's revered.
Yeah, of course.
And so he'd created that. And then sadly 1933 arrived and that was the end of Mr. Peto's tenure on Earth. So he moved on. And in 1984, my father, 1984, yes, okay, quite often the wrong century appears, I appreciate that. In 1984, my father decided to finish the job, as he puts it. So this is truly a John Hignett garden. And I'm really proud of what he's achieved here. We're still working on it.
Oh my
It's 40
goodness.
years in. There are views being created. It's one of the things about Japanese gardens is that they take 3 generations to mature at least.
Right.
You want all of this moss. You see, it's all self-sown and you don't
beautiful,
plant it, it just occurs.
Interestingly enough, here in this Japanese garden, I am spotting 2 native orchids.
Pyramidal orchids, absolutely. Self-sown, like so many things in this garden. The box is very much where it falls, it lies. And then you manage it from there. And of course it's on a rock, which is, 10 tons of rock, which was taken across on rollers in the Roman fashion, pulled by a digger by my father from some yards
So your
away,
father
some
put the
100
stone
yards
here?
away. Yes, he placed that there. So that is his island. And then the whole of the idea of this garden is really based around that sort of Chinese cosmological idea of the north and south, east and the west. These stones, you see the scales of the dragon
of
here?
course.
These 2 are the dragons coming down to drink and to steal the pearls which are under the temple. And so it's all the stories are in there, woven
stunning.
in, but in a subtle way.
Okay, it's just stunning and beautiful, but I have to say, it's something about those 2 orchids there. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking right now. Those are your parents, because they're English, right there.
Well,
here
there
they are,
right at the
here you
heart,
are.
the Englishness at
That's
the heart
right.
of the Japanese.
The Japanese
Isn't that lovely?
garden, and there are
Yeah.
your parents who really took this on.
And still do, of course.
Yeah,
My father's
of
still
course.
driving his digger.
Exactly.
As his retirement project, as it was his profession. As a professional amateur gardener, as he calls
It's
himself.
wonderful.
It is lovely. And he's still here every evening, moving the rocks around, sorting things out, sort of working out which moss to leave and the rest of it. Of course, the thing about this garden is it's so different to everything else, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
no,
cooler, it's damper, it's a
it
different
definitely is.
climate. And I think it's more peaceful in many ways.
It's very peaceful.
I'm spending the day visiting the stunning Grade 1 listed gardens at Iford Manor in southwest England. The gardens have developed over the past 100 years from the vision of Harold Peto, who lived here in the early 20th century. And in 2016, our dear friends William and Marianne were handed the reins to lead Iford into the future.
One of the gifts that I think my mother gave us was, and bear in mind, she took over Iford 50 years prior, was to say, essentially, to leave a spinning chair in the office. She sort of pretty much just went. And she said to me, I remember very vividly, she said to me, I know I'm going to hate a number of things that you do, but do it anyway, because you need a run at it. You need to go at it just as I did. And I think that was an amazing gift, because it meant that Marianne and I could really start to make the changes that we felt were necessary.
Iford has been welcoming visitors since 1910, when Harold Peto was in the midst of transforming the Georgian Gardens into a glorious celebration of all the places he had visited. And now, with the completion of one of William and Marianne's first projects, visitors can enjoy the wonderful food in the new restaurant and cafe, which is run by amazing head chef Jack Brewer.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, look, a little posy of pansies.
Yeah, because
How
I
marvellous.
hear we're making sort of cakes and maybe some tea sandwiches, but I thought we could put some edible flowers on them.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Is that enough?
No. But we can, I've bought some in as well, so we can make, we'll use these, I promise you.
I've never made a proper afternoon tea before.
Have you not? Okay, well, here we go.
Okay, great.
Okay, so let's go through and I'll...
Wash hands?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. There we go. I mean, you know, we all know how to wash our hands really well now.
This is where your station is going to be.
Oh, great.
And we're making a little nod to the Japanese garden, the Peto garden. So there's some yuzu in here, which is a lovely tropical juice. So I've mixed up some yuzu and cucumber and cider vinegar, and then chive butter.
Oh my goodness.
And then we've got spread on here on very plain white bread, the cheapest bread you can buy. It's true, but they make the best sandwiches, they really do. Then you're folding this over, and then we're going to cut them beautifully. So we're going to be cutting just into 3 samples like this, and then we're putting onto the plate here. Okay.
Right. Okay.
That's your brief.
That's my brief.
You're making one sandwich.
This is like quite an extravagant,
beautiful, aren't they?
Tea sandwich here. I can't wait to taste it. I'm gonna just tell William and Marianne that I made the whole thing. No, I'm just kidding.
No. And then we'll dress them with edible flowers.
So I'm gonna fold it over.
Fold it over, and then you're cutting off the.
Okay.
Don't know whether our parents will be very happy with us doing this, cutting off the
Okay.
crusts. They're meant to be good for you.
So all the crusts.
All the crusts, really neatly.
And
the whole thing about afternoon tea, in my opinion, is it's really precision. It's beautiful, beautiful food.
Jack, I don't know if you know this, but the family that I married into actually invented the sandwich.
Did they?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
they'll be so proud of you today.
Well, here's the thing. You'd think that I would know how to make tea sandwiches.
Yeah.
But the sandwich that the 4th Earl invented, and it was named after him, was actually, in one sense, roast beef between 2 pieces of bread, and it became the sandwich, the lunchtime sandwich that we all know. Not this.
No, this is something completely different.
Yeah,
and it is, and it's such a treat to go out for afternoon tea.
Every American, I'm certain, that has visited, Britain has come here to have their afternoon tea. We just don't have the same wonderful, tradition.
Top cutting
Was
there.
that?
Yeah, wonderful. Now turn it round again.
Okay.
Super.
Yeah.
And then cut it into 3, so you've got equal sizes.
Okay, equal sizes.
I mean, I have known chefs to measure.
Oh
their
my
sandwiches.
goodness.
I know. It's that much of an art. Skill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that
lovely.
right? What do you think?
That's good. We'll go with that. Perfect.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So if you just kind of turn them up on their side, so that they fill, so that you can actually see the filling.
Okay, this one I have to just do quick.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody. Okay. So turn them up like this.
That's super.
Oh my goodness.
See how beautiful that looks?
Yeah. I'm going to turn
And then
this
you're just going to drape the tendrils, the little pea shoot tendrils, over.
Oh my gosh. It's beautiful. Okay, I'm just making sure it's cut.
Yeah, that's top work. Absolutely wonderful. Well done.
So this one's okay. Okay, there we
Yep,
go.
Well done. Beautiful.
Like this.
Yes, well done.
Oh
Top
my
work.
gosh. Well, I'm learning from the best. So that is
Thank
true.
you. Right, now we're going to decorate some cakes.
Okay, let's
is
go.
exciting.
With my edible flowers.
With your edible flowers. Let's do it. So here we are in the bakery now, and this is a chance to go crazy. I've made a clementine and almond syrup cake with its. So before it was ganached, I made like a drizzle for it.
Right.
Lemon and orange and sugar.
Okay.
Which, when the cake came out of the oven, I just washed it over, kept washing it over, so it filtrated into the cake. So it's like, it makes it not heavy, it's a very light cake, but it makes it so delicious.
I mean,
and moist.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask you this question because obviously I'm not a baker, I'm not a chef, but ganached.
Great word, isn't it? I know.
What does ganache mean?
Ganache means, so you melt chocolate, dark cacao, and butter together. Then you add some honey and cognac in there. Cheeky. And then it gives it the most beautiful glaze, which is really lovely.
Goodness.
That's a ganache.
So it's been ganached.
Ganache? This has been ganache all ready for you, Julie.
It's brilliant. It's my new favourite word.
If we move to the flowers, so we have your lovely bunch, and this is where you knock yourself out.
These are beautiful.
They're gorgeous, aren't they? So we've got another little surprise, which we're going to be using, the pink palette, which I was talking to you about. How wonderful!
Yes.
How wonderful you match.
Thank
Great,
you.
isn't it?
You knew.
And then the orange is going to go beautifully with the cake here. So I think it's over to you.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick.
You want to get a little bit of kind of height in there and
and facing out.
exactly. That looks amazing. I've got some little nasturtium flowers, leaves that you could actually pop on if you wanted to.
So would you put it on top? Do you see how I've just put it on top there?
Yeah,
or no?
I would. Yeah, no, definitely.
That's too big.
Anything goes.
Anything goes. Okay, like that.
I think that's stunning.
Really?
I think you've done a fantastic job.
Well, thank you. All right, what's up next?
An angel cake.
Oh my!
Which is
goodness.
just the lightest thing you'll ever eat. In the middle of the cake,
Yes.
you've got raspberries and blueberries. So when you cut into it, they tumble out, or they should do.
Oh my goodness!
That's the plan.
I'm sure growing up in America.
Yes.
Angel cake,
Yeah,
right?
it's the thing. It's an American. That's why I did it. It's an American. It's an American recipe.
I'm sure America, we'd have angel cakes, so you did it
Yeah.
on behalf of
I did.
the token American.
Yeah,
and it's lovely.
a showstopper. It
I
really
mean,
is a showstopper.
Beautiful.
So, in a nod to what you're wearing, which I didn't actually know, and the raspberries, etc., knock yourself out with the.
I'm going to go pink vibes,
yeah,
right?
I definitely think pink is the way here.
Okay, and just sort of like.
You put it anywhere you like. I mean, it's not quite nice to have a sort of a bit of a sweet dress, just dress the cake.
Okay, but
basically.
avoid the raspberries. Look, I really need
No,
guidance
you can,
here.
I mean, there are raspberries inside, so if you want to take them off, I just put them on there.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm going to kind of like go like that, maybe. I don't know. Fix
Beautiful.
it. Jack, you need to fix what I'm, what I'm doing here.
There we
Look
are.
at that. I feel like this leaf.
Yeah, it might. Yes. You see, what you can also do. Well, I just pick off the petals. Seems a bit of an ouch moment, but they look really pretty, just drizzling over the top. I mean, beautiful. It's just beautiful. It's such a lovely colour anyway.
It is beautiful.
Could not have planned your outfit better as well.
I know.
So darn
I somehow
impressed with
knew. Look at this.
There you go.
Okay, there.
You see, I think
Now-
that's a work of art.
I do too.
The Cloister, built in 1914 in the early medieval Romanesque style, is a Grade II listed building. Being here, you feel like you're stepping back in time to the sun-drenched hills of Tuscany.
It's a building which represents a number of things, but essentially, as we came in, there was this inscription, the haunt of ancient peace. It's from a poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson, The Palace of Art. It's well worth a read. It's all about creating a space that's very sacred to you personally, and this is this sacred space for Harold Peto. He creates it and places in it his objects that he treasures the most, that mean the most to him, and also it creates a sense of peacefulness. Ancient peace, interesting set of words.
It is interesting.
Ancient peace is this idea that it's been here longer than we have, that we are just newcomers, that this is the standard status here is peacefulness. We're the kind of aggressor into that, we're trampling on that potentially. So beware, traveller, that you need to respect the awesome ancient peace that exists. And this is that space.
Just a couple of years after William and Marianne took on Iford, they were faced with an unbelievably daunting problem. This spectacular building was in grave danger of disappearing into dust.
One problem we had in this building is that, as with all these buildings that Peto put up, he didn't put a foundation under it. So we have a 100mm, 4-inch foundation on pounded Fuller's earth. Fuller's earth is a really expandable clay. So in the dry weather, we didn't have rain here for 6 months in 2018, so it collapsed the clay layer, and the building was nearly lost.
Oh my goodness.
So it was quite a challenge. We took out everything from this all the way round to the far corner over there, and it was quite a job. Yeah, pretty much. So everything below the arches. And it was pinned with steels to hold the roof up. Everything was taken away, numbered, you know, stone by stone. And then we dug down by hand, no machinery in here, of course, you can't get in.
No, of course.
And took out the fuller's earth, replaced it with a concrete foundation, built it back, numbered stones, replaced the columns in their right orientation, resized, etc.
Oh my goodness.
And then, of course, we took the scaffold away, and that was the terrifying moment. The engineer just came and did it on a Sunday evening without anyone knowing, actually. And hopefully, that gives it a sense of continuity for the future, which is, of course, the sustainable approach that we're all trying to come up with for our heritage.
Absolutely, but you know, I know that you also won the Historic Houses Restoration Award.
We did. It was very generous of them to give it to us.
In 2020 , because how long did this take? This
was an 8-month project, and we finished in March of 20, but of course the judges couldn't visit during COVID. So that award was made this year, and it was very generous of them to give it to us. I'm sure the other projects were magnificent, but I think this was so technical, so challenging for people to understand how to deal with a fully arched structure. There's no lintels in this building at all. It's entirely arches. So if you move something, everything else moves. And that was the great challenge. So I think the engineers should really get the credit for this. The workmen, the craftsmen, they always give the prize to the wrong people, don't they? You know, the guy just commissions the work. But ultimately, this is about the amazing work of the people who built it.
Absolutely, and definitely well-deserved. I mean, absolutely, because you're right, it is that technical. It's not like anything's changed as far as the restoration, but we also have to remember that restoration doesn't just mean, you know, stripping things back, revealing something else. It means making sure that this stays standing for future generations.
Absolutely, and that is the whole point of creating the restaurant, the cafe that you've seen when you were with Jack, of creating all of those spaces to create some sort of revenue that will enable the garden to survive long into the future. These places shouldn't be parasites of a community or the people who live in them. They should be living and breathing engaged with their community, and that's what we seek to do over the next 10, 20, 30 years, so that Horatio, hopefully, or his brother or sister or whatever, can want to inherit this and see it as a real positive benefit to their lives. It seems like such a silly thing to say when you live in such a beautiful place, but actually you can wake up in the morning, you know this, you wake up in the morning and you think, oh, which tree's fallen over today?
Or which leak.
Right, which leak am I going to deal with today? Actually, it's about creating an environment where there is the funds available, where there are the funds available to fix the leaks, to sort the trees out, to make it sustainable for the long-term future. That's really the point of conservation heritage. Now, of course, you round the corner, and then suddenly you have this view to the valley beneath. And I think this is the reserved secret, right for the end of the visit, that Harold Peto wants you to see. Do you see the weir on the river?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the source, I think, of that ancient peace, that sense that this has been continuously flowing. It's never quiet in the Iford Valley.
No.
You always hear this white noise. And white noise attenuates other things in the distance. It makes things calmer. You know, you put white noise to get your kids to sleep.
Yeah,
right?
no, absolutely.
So it's all of that, and it's that sense of positive energy of the movement of water, and I think that's at the heart of what the ancient peace is.
Absolutely. Wonderful. How spectacular.
And now it's time for tea.
I 100% agree. Let's go.
I'm certain Harold Peto would be overjoyed that his gardens have been revived and nurtured by the Cartwright Hignett's, and soon a new baby will join William's family to enjoy growing up in this magical place.
We've got the whole family here. Very exciting. And I'm sure your bump is going to want some cake.
Oh, I would think sugar
tea?
is always popular at bumps, isn't it?
I cannot believe this spread, but I do love egg mayonnaise, which I would say the American way, I'm afraid, is egg salad. Yeah, we say egg salad.
I cannot resist the chocolate and the edible flowers, so I am going to dive straight into that.
The whole point of an angel cake is that it should tumble forth upon entry. Is it worth finding a knife? Okay.
And I feel Julie should do it.
I feel so. She dressed it so beautifully.
Gosh, I'm very nervous.
Right.
All right, Jack, I'm gonna make a dent.
Number one.
Oh my goodness.
I hope I've done justice to American.
Oh my, you're right. What's inside? It's so like, I'm just gonna make sure I get my nice little corner here. Fantastic.
Let's get that on a plate. Wow, look at that.
Look at that. Oh, and there's some cascading berries. You're right, where the center hole was. So I'm just going to sneak these on.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Isn't that fun? Wow, I've never seen an angel cake before.
Have you had an angel cake?
No. I've never seen
I
one.
grew
I've
up
never
with an
beheld one in my vision. That is so
is
exciting.
fantastic.
Should we do it?
Yeah,
Go
no,
on.
we should.
Do you want the icy end or the fruity
I'll take
end?
the icy end.
There you go.
The icy end. Okay.
Dive in. Go on.
Are we?
Yeah, we're totally doing that.
Okay.
Let's do
Cheers.
it.
Well,
Cheers.
Thank you to everybody for such a wonderful time here
It's
at
been a pleasure.
Iford.
Great to
all
see
of
you.
you for really spending your time with me, but also just for me to be able to experience, you know, what ancient peace really means.
Well, cheers to
Cheers
that.
to that. Perfect, Horatio.
That's amazing.
Isn't it? It's light.
Who knew Americans make cakes?
You now know. The most brilliant day out here at Iford Manor and Gardens. I mean, it's more than I could have ever expected. So I've come here really to visit the gardens and of course meet this one too, so sweet, and to visit the gardens, but I learned so much more, not just about how special these gardens were, but really what they meant to Harold Peto, who of course designed them and really put such incredible thought into making sure that the synergies around the world were brought together. But of course, with Jack learning how to make the perfect tea sandwiches and Troy guiding me in the Japanese garden. So it's just been a wonderful, incredible day out. The architecture, the landscape, but of course, the ancient peace.
This time on American Viscountess, I visit Pentllie Castle, historic home to the Corton family, an exclusive wedding and private hire venue. During my stay at the castle, I'll be helping out with a high-powered cleanup operation.
I know. I mean, this is going to be a new look for me.
We need to try and start this. If this starts, winner, winner. If not,
Okay.
we'll be shouting for some
Okay.
support and help.
Look,
Hang on.
I feel like a transformer in this. Oh my goodness.
I'll step into another world out on the estate.
We found that there's a vault underneath here, which is completely sealed. About here, there's the remains of a chair with a body.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So he's just sitting there waiting.
What? You saw him?
He's just there. Yeah.
What?
And I'll take a bracing early morning dip.
When I married into the British aristocracy, it was the start of a wonderfully exciting journey. But it was also a little daunting. I became a Viscountess, and for an American girl from a small town outside Chicago, that was quite a shock.
I live with my husband Luke, heir to the Earl of Sandwich, and our family at Mapperton House in Dorset.
Living in a place like this is a joy, but also a challenge. And every day we're aware that we're preserving a very special part of Britain's heritage. Mapperton has opened up an extraordinary new world for me, and I can't wait to share it with you all.
So if you love castles and manors and stately homes as much as I do, please join this American Viscountess as I journey into the British countryside in search of some of Britain's finest historic houses. Pentllie Castle stands gloriously on the banks of the River Tamar in the southwest of Britain. Inherited in 2007, by Ted and Sarah Corriton and their family, it is now managed by daughter Sammy as an exclusive wedding and private hire home from home. It's the first time I visited Pentillie, and I can't wait to see Sammy again.
All right, something is going on here. There are chairs. Okay. Wow. Oh my God. That is not what I expected to see. I was like, where's Sammy? And then all of a sudden I see this machine. Hi.
Welcome to Pentillie. How are you? Meet my leaf blower. Sorry, I'm not the expert, but all hands to the pump today.
Well, okay, so tell me what is happening here, because there's
obviously very tidy, but not ready.
You're tidying up.
We are tidying up. So there's been a wedding
this
weekend. So yeah, there's chairs needing to go in and out. Turn the house around, basically, ready for guests tonight.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, okay, this is spectacular.
This is good.
The drive was fantastic.
And you brought beautiful weather, so you can come again anytime you like.
Yeah, I will. Absolutely, I will. But okay, so you're tidying up for a wedding, so you're obviously busy.
Yeah, come and help me.
I will come and help you.
Yeah,
that's what I like to do.
The leaf blower for you, Julie?
I'm going to leave the leaf blower in your very capable hands.
We need it for confetti in a minute, so come on through.
Wonderful. I'm walking into a castle.
I mean, little one.
I know, but it's still a castle.
Pentillie, absolutely. I don't want to drop your bags there. That'd be amazing.
Perfect.
She's totally taking liberties with guests arriving.
I love it.
She's not normally allowed in the house, so
I love her.
At least the hoovering hasn't happened quite yet. Whoops.
In this room, wedding parties celebrate under the sparkle of the Waterford crystal chandeliers and the watchful eye of the first happy couple of Pentillie.
We've got Sir James Tilley and Elizabeth, his wife.
Right.
So Sir James Tilley built the house in 1698, so a very important man for us.
Very important man. Is that who I passed there?
Met him on his statue at the front.
That's what I thought. Okay, so he built the house 1698.
Yeah, 320
something years ago. Okay,
so masses.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so he built the house in 1698, and yeah, he chose, I think, a pretty good spot.
Look at this view.
What do you think?
Oh my goodness.
Hello, England.
Hello.
That's England.
And the weather.
And the weather. And
that
this
is
Cornwall.
England.
That's England. This is Cornwall.
But this is what, every American thinks, and everybody around the world. When you come to England, this is the view that you think of.
The green and pleasant land.
Yes. You put it
Sorry,
perfectly.
so cliche. And the big lawn for croquet match or whatever. And
that's right.
The tidy up begins here. Confetti needs to be cleared up. And
hello.
This is Chrissy, our wedding coordinator. Julie.
So you are the wedding coordinator. Well, this is fantastic. I mean, I kind of wish I had gotten married here. How many weddings do you do a year?
Round about 25 to 30.
Right. That's a lot.
Different sizes.
Yeah.
From Diddy.
Little tiny ones with just 2, which is so lovely. You can feel the emotion in the rooms. They are absolutely spectacular. Right the way through to weddings with 200 people down here on the lawn with a marquee.
Incredible.
Every single one is different. They're all memorable for their own right reasons. It's lovely.
And I love that you're in your heels. They're fantastic. That's right, aim high.
Chrissy loves a heel. I, on the other hand, do not.
I know, you're the same with me. But Sammy, how long have you been having weddings here? Because that's a big part of your business here at Pentillie, right?
Yeah, it is actually. So since before we opened, so 2008 was the first one.
Right. So that's going for a good 13 years now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you count, the year that didn't exist. But it's a big part of your business here.
It is, yeah. Weddings and private hire. So families come and they stay for the whole weekend, don't they, Chrissy? They take over the castle for 2 or 3 days. Yeah, or even a week.
What can I do to help?
Well, we need to get the confetti cleared. So
this is quite tedious, isn't it?
Yeah, natural petal confetti though that we make here from the flower bed.
Do you know what? So much for this. I'm going to get that leaf blower, Julie. You can have a go with the leaf blower.
Can I have a go?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was hoping you were going to ask me that. I need to try out that leaf blower.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
I don't think I am. What?
Would you like glasses? I don't bother with the glasses.
Okay,
but
yeah.
I'll give them to you once you've got this on. It's quite heavy.
Okay, it looks very heavy. Okay.
Come on the
Okay.
other side of the,
Okay. Oh my gosh.
lower.
Oh my gosh, Sammy, I did not expect this when I was
You
coming
ready?
for a visit. This is heavy. Okay.
Should we pop the glasses on?
Put the glasses on.
Well,
Okay.
you look so fabulous.
I know. I mean, this is going to be a
And
new
then-
look for me.
We need to try and start this. If this starts, winner, winner. If not,
Okay.
we'll be shouting for some
Okay.
support and help. Hang on.
I feel like a transformer in this.
Rule the world.
Oh my God! Oh my gosh!
This might never stop.
Okay, keep going.
Like
Okay.
Neil was earlier pumping, giving me
Okay,
a bit
I'm
of
gonna try
action.
this. Here we go.
Right,
Okay,
listen,
pump it in.
ready?
Ooh. Okay.
Come on. Chrissy, you're the detective. It will start, it will.
I know.
Oh my goodness me.
Chrissy enthusiastically steps in.
Ready?
Yeah.
Brave?
Yep.
Then producer Victoria gets all fired up.
Okay, Neil.
Neil! Can this go in the behind the scenes, please?
But when girl power falters, Sammy calls in reinforcements. And with Ted, Sammy's father triumphant, it's full throttle ahead.
Amazing. Well done. That was way quicker.
That was so fun. I felt like, you know, a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, too right.
Do you know what I mean?
Look
Oh
just
my
the
God, it
part.
was so exhilarating, but it's like the vibration. I'm a bit sort of like zzz right now.
Amazing. Well, thank you enormously.
Oh,
Job done.
anytime. This is what I love to do.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I pop in for an overnight stay and put me hard to work.
Well, the leaf blow. It's autumn, isn't it? So the leaves will be coming off the trees any time. So yeah, come back in about a month.
And dare I say that it's like warm here in England?
I know, warm in Cornwall. You see, it's Cornwall, isn't it?
It's Cornwall.
Summer sunshine. So yeah,
Um,
thanks for bringing the southern shine and everything. But we're done. So that's good.
We're done.
Another
Right.
bit done. Sorted.
So glad I could help out.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like.
Glass of water?
Yeah, a glass of water. Right, should I bring this back? Oh my
Yeah, do you want me
goodness,
to
it's
carry
like a
that? No,
monster.
yeah.
No, I've got it.
Got the
We're
beast?
friends now. We're friends now. We're friends now.
Can I grab one side?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let me have
maybe.
this.
Okay, wait. Hold on.
I got
Okay.
this. Right, we're
Okay,
sorted. It's a bit of a beast, isn't it?
It is a big of a beast, but it
Amazing.
works. It
It
gets the
does.
job done.
So come on through.
Very
The bookcase, the
impressed.
drawing room is through there,
Oh
but we'll
my
show you all of
goodness.
this later. Come on through. If you don't mind, shoes off.
Of course.
Ridiculous beige carpet. Whose idea was that?
No, we have the same rule. We have the same rule.
Yeah,
It's
shoes off is
wonderful.
always good. Can I take this for you?
No, I've got
Are you
it.
sure?
I promise you. I promise you. All right. So, how many bedrooms are there here?
We have 11 bedrooms. So one downstairs on the ground floor, 8 double ensuite bedrooms on this level, and then 2 up in the turrets. The castle turrets. In the turrets.
They must be very popular. I mean, I want to sleep in a turret.
You're very welcome. But instead, I've given you the chorusing bedroom. So
Okay.
this is one of my favourites.
Oh, and you've given me such great views.
It's a goodie, isn't
Look
it?
at this.
Yeah, down over the river.
Incredible. You know, you are running this now.
Yes.
Yes.
Quite daunting.
Right. And
sometimes brilliantly.
But I've only been here for
Often
like
dreadfully.
But I've only been here for like a nanosecond.
Yeah.
And you're on the go all the time. Is this what it's like most days?
Yes, but I think it's probably the same for you guys, isn't it? There's always,
Yeah, there's always.
There's always something.
There's always
isn't it?
something.
So it's always, you have a plan for the day. I try
Yeah.
and have a plan for the week. And quite often I still haven't turned my laptop on, and it's 3:10 and it's time to go and collect the children from school. So it's a bit of a juggle, but I think that's the same in every house like this, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's,
I mean, there's lots going on.
Yeah, every house, but this is a castle.
It's got a couple of turrets. But yeah, I'm going to throw the sheet at you, and let's get this done, and then we can get you a comfy bed for this evening. Can you go around the other side?
Yeah. I mean, are you like an expert at making beds?
I pretend to be when I need to be. Down there.
Okay. What about the corners? How are you on corners?
Are you any good at hospital corners? Let's just do this one first.
Hospital corners.
Do you know a hospital corner? Right. So
no.
Okay, I'll show you. So down underneath. Pull it underneath and tight.
Yeah.
Tight, tight, tight.
Yeah.
Now get this bit that's all drapey down here.
Yeah.
And go like that.
Okay. Go like that.
Yeah. And then tuck what's dangling underneath.
Okay.
That's it. And then bring the bit that was foldy up here.
Yeah.
Down, and then you've got a nice tight corner.
Since the 19th century, nurses would use this method to make beds for their patients.
I think we're both in practice. I haven't done one for a while. So Pentillie was a maternity hospital in the Second World War. So we quite like our hospital corners. We take it all back to when there was ladies having their babies here during the war, which is quite fantastic.
And why was it? Why did it become a maternity hospital?
Well, we're just 20 minutes from Plymouth, so down the river, and then the Blitz, and the Alexandra Nursing Home in Plymouth was, you know, one of the places that might be attacked or suffer under a bomb threat. So the Pentillie and another house the other side of the river in Devon were both requisitioned as maternity hospitals. So Pentillie was a maternity ward. Sort of all during the Second World War, actually. We haven't done very well at this end.
No, I haven't. I'm just going to kind of watch you again. So under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then bring this bit that's all dangly, so you've got some to dangle, the side bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what's going on over there. Tuck that bit under, and then the side bit.
Okay, yeah. And then the side bits. Okay.
Housekeeping are going to laugh at me. They're going to say, "Oh, Sammy,
no, they're going to look at my side and they're going to be like, she is rubbish."
Well, between us, we both could do a bit more practice, couldn't we?
I mean, I could. I don't think you need a bit more practice, but
there
this
we are.
is
Sort of
okay. I'm happy. Let's do that.
Tuck it under.
I'll have to bring this back to Mapperton. Hospital corners.
There we are. That's quite nice, isn't it?
That's nice. I'm happy to sleep on this. I'm very excited to sleep on
Perfect.
this.
And that's duvets, which always are hilarious, and we get lost in a duvet. But
oh dear.
No, you're good. That one.
Okay, here with my hand.
Grab.
And then pull it through.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's right.
Genius. There we are. Done. Look. You're going to have such
I've
an
made my
uncomfortable
bed.
night's sleep.
This is
It
brilliant.
was like really comfy, except one side of the bed
really
didn't have any
I
cover.
can do my own bed.
What was amazing when we first came here to Pentillie, we invited some babies and some mums to come and have tea. And this one lady arrived, and she had rowed here from Plymouth when she was in labour, which is quite impressive.
She rode up the river in labour to get to Pentillie during the war.
Yeah. That's amazing, isn't it?
And she came back to visit.
She came back to visit, with her son, which was wonderful and amazing.
With the son that was born here.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
But then the castle was 3/4 bigger. I forgot to say that bit. That was pretty important because there's not that many reasons. 8 bedrooms probably isn't enough for a whole maternity hospital. But the castle was 3/4 bigger. So the courtyard you arrived in was a central courtyard, and so there was another wing out there and another wing out there. But it was all knocked down in the 60s, so we're left with, I suppose, 1/3 of what was here. But you can have that one.
Thank you. Fantastic. Oh.
Yeah, like a little zhuzh.
A little zhuzh.
Zhuzh. There we are.
Over the past 50 years, Pentillie has undergone some dramatic changes. But since the family inherited the castle in 2007, they have transformed it into the most magical and tranquil place to stay. I met up with Sammy's mother, Sarah Corriton, who explained how much the castle has changed over the years.
You've done a lot to this castle, is that right?
I think we have done quite a lot to this castle. It was a very sort of dead space, perfectly livable in.
Right.
But it was a very, just a dead space, very, just needed some life and some love. But I kind of knew what I wanted. if that makes any sense.
Yes.
And I sort of knew what, I didn't want wallpapers and all that sort of thing. I just wanted it as plain as possible, because actually at that stage we didn't even know what we were going to do with the whole house. Was it going to be a livable prospect? Quickly became obvious that it wasn't. And so then what we're going to do, if you've got the general public in and lots of parties going on, there's no point in having wallpaper, which has got to be redone after every wedding. And so it was paint, and I knew the sort of colours I wanted.
Yeah, it's very, it's a clean, welcoming colour.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm
so
glad
I
you
really
like
like that. So you've then taken, obviously not here, but you've taken all of pretty much kind of the shell of the castle, if you like, and the interiors.
Yeah.
And you've redone a lot of it and redone it.
Certainly from this point on. But this is actually one of my most favourite bits.
Right here.
We did do, yeah. This is my military wall, what I call my military wall, because all Ted's relations. This is Geoffrey Corrishan, his first cousin, who he inherited Pentillie from. He was actually the second son. The eldest son was killed in El Alamein, and then Geoffrey inherited, but as the second son, and then he came here to run the house, and they ran, had a very lovely life, but not a great deal. I mean, they had chefs and cooks and things, and they had no children, and they then just lived here. But it was very sterile, is the only way I could describe it. Hugely sterile. But anyway, so we then had to make it a sort of livable home, even if you're coming here as a paying guest.
Yes.
But one of my most favourite things is the guests who are not the paying guests, who are the military veterans, who we have here twice a year. And they come and stay for a week. They either have, they can do exactly what they want. They can have yoga and meditation, they can do clay pigeon shooting, they can canoe, they can paddleboard, they can paint. Because they suddenly found that since they become veterans, they're now able to develop these amazing talents which maybe they didn't know they had.
Listening to Sarah, I'm realizing what a special place Pentillie is and how much these walls have to tell.
This is the most amazing bit, I think, really of Pentillie, because it was done by the plasterer who was working on the house, and he was in the house when it was Poppy Day 2008. My son was in Afghanistan as well, so it was a pretty poignant day. And when we'd had our 2-minute silence, and I came back in here and I found him just slashing this into the raw. This was
plaster.
all raw plaster. Yeah, because this was all just newly plastered, and the tears streaming down his face, and he was broken. He was absolutely busted, but all his horrors coming back from his service in Bosnia and Croatia. It's completely marvellous, and I said, I want that to remain, and he said, no. I said, yes. He said, I didn't even spell Afghan right. And I said,
because he was in a moment of
absolutely. It doesn't matter, and I love it. I love it. And that's really what that's what Pentillie's about. To me, it's part of the thing that it gives out for sort of healing.
Sarah takes me across the estate to a very special place which the veterans have uncovered for the first time in 70 years. On a sunny hillside, the Victorian walled kitchen garden is being brought back to life. In the 1950s, it took 5 gardeners to tend the 2.5-acre garden to produce fruit and vegetables for the castle. But today, it's a place where nature is giving so much more.
And here you have the beginnings of the great sanctuary of the kitchen garden. And all the sort of things that we've been doing with the boys is that some of them didn't want to grow veggies, but they wanted to expose all the old cobbles which haven't been exposed for years and years and years, because all along here was junk and filth and muck, and I can't even call it compost, but rubbish that had just been stuck there for, the last 70 years, I suppose.
So they come here, and this is just one element within sort of the castle and the grounds that they can come to, and
this is where they are. This is safe.
Yeah,
they're totally safe. And when I say they're safe, they just feel secure.
Yes.
And there's always somebody with them in case there's a bit of a meltdown that goes on. You never know what that sudden peace brings on.
Of course.
They just do whatever they would like to do, whether it's grow the seeds or whether it's grow the weeds or learn how to take little cuttings or to make it look better, as in the sort of potting shed there, which they've uncovered wonderful old tools and the swallows in and out, so wonderful.
So this is really a place that they feel, the war heroes really feel that they can come and just be they can do if they need to do something and they feel they want to, but they also can just feel safe.
They can feel, I think the main thing is that they feel safe. They haven't got to worry if somebody's coming behind them or anything like that. And they can have their cup of tea, they can weed, they can plant, they can just sit. And just the other day we had a lovely barbecue. We're hoping to be able to expand it, to be able to do either more days or definitely more veterans, because as you can see, it's needing a lot of hands to hold it under control. But they have done an amazing job. It was like fighting through a jungle when we started.
Well, no, I mean, it's a vast kitchen garden. I mean, this is vast. And I've also, I've spotted a couple of peacock.
Oh yes.
Is that right?
We've got 7 peacocks, and consequently everything's sort of barricaded against peacock damage, because they'll eat absolutely everything. And we even found them getting in the greenhouse eating the grapes off the vine.
But I suspect that the veterans must like that, coming here, having a cup of tea and being surrounded by peacocks.
Pentllie Castle stands on the banks of the River Tamar in Cornwall. It's been home to the Corrigan family for over 300 years. Hidden in a far corner of the estate is a monument to Sir James Tilley, who built the castle in the late 17th century.
And there's the mausoleum.
Splendid. I mean, just extraordinary. So this was built, this is a Folly.
Yes, a Folly, but it didn't have any real purpose. But I think it was built in about 1670, 1680.
Right.
With Tilly anticipating or wanting to come up here and read a book and drink wine and get away from a nagging wife.
Right, so he built this, he commissioned
this.
Yes,
I think so. There's no record of it before.
Right. And so this was his escapism, if you like. And
I think so.
I suspect he was able to look out and be like, look at this
What
view.
a great man am I.
Oh,
I've got a little wooden shed in a field over there that I use for the same purpose.
Not quite as grand or spectacular
No,
as
it's
this.
not.
So are we allowed to go in?
Yes, of course we are.
Okay, wonderful.
It was in terrible condition, but we spent a certain amount of time restoring it, so it's all held together with stainless steel now.
So this is where James Tilley would come and just...
Well, there used to be windows either side, and I think there was originally a flat roof, a belvedere, so you could go up and stand on the roof and look at the view.
Oh,
and then I think the Victorians added a butterfly roof over that. You can see the view of the roof.
Yes, I can see that. So this is him.
Here he is. Very fine statue of him. I think it must have been made after his death, because the sculpture wasn't very complimentary of his figure, was he?
Right, no, he wasn't.
But the reason he's here is that in his will he said that he wanted to be placed in his favourite chair, wired to it so he didn't fall over, dressed in his best clothes with his books and his fine wines, and to be taken to the building on Mount Ararat, and this is Mount Ararat, and to await resurrection. So it must have been quite an arrogant character to think that he was actually going to be resurrected. It doesn't happen often, does it?
No.
That we know of.
And
the story goes that they brought him up here.
Oh, they did. They followed his direction.
Yeah. And when we came here, the statue was in a terrible state.
When Ted and the family took over the running of Pentillie, nature had reclaimed the building.
So this...
That had fallen out and was lying on the floor. And all the leaves had come off and the skull had come off. The skull means victory over death.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that.
No, nor did I.
Victory over death. So he really did think he was going to be resurrected.
Well, I think so.
In 2013, a restoration operation began to preserve the monument for the future.
We got a wonderful conservation firm to take him to pieces. And it was about 180 pieces scattered all over the place.
180 pieces?
And they put him together. They took him up to a workshop in Bath and put him together. He didn't have any feet left, and his hands had gone.
Right.
And his nose was missing. And whether that was through the roof collapsing on the building or the vandalism, we don't know.
Right.
300 years after Sir James Tillie died, his statue was reborn.
We could have aged that.
No.
But I wanted to show that it was an intervention. It was a recreation.
Exactly, and I think absolutely. And you've kept the graffiti on, I see.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be wonderful to find out who had actually scratched it? And
I know. Are there any dates on here? I'm looking
no,
for...
none that we can find.
None that you can find. How?
And the chair represents a lawyer's chair because they used to keep all their papers in it. So when they're sitting on it, no one could get at the papers.
No one could get at the private papers.
Would have had a handle there and one the other side, so his servants could carry it from one place to another.
During the restoration, something quite extraordinary was uncovered.
When we were doing the restoration, we found that there was a domed vault underneath. The builders came rushing down to the castle and said, there's a vault, there's a vault. So we came tearing up here and found that there was this domed structure with a couple of big granites there. So we lifted the granites 8 steps into a vault, into a chamber, with a body.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So he's just sitting there waiting.
What? You saw him?
He's just there. Yeah.
What?
It appears that the dying wishes of Sir James Tillie had been realized.
The chair's, the back of it is still propped up against the wall, but it's so fragile you can't touch it.
No.
It's got studs on it which say SRJT, Sir James Tillie.
Of course. And was there any hidden treasure?
No, unfortunately not. His books and his fine wine, there were no signs of it.
How fantastic to be able to restore this, but also to be able to find 300 years later,
yes,
Sir James Tillie lying in the ground,
and
or sitting.
It's wonderful that people carried out his wishes, isn't it?
Yes.
Because once you're dead, you've got no influence any longer, have you?
Right. Well, I feel like we should leave him in peace. And, you know, I think he's very happy.
But
here
Sarah and
and
Sammy
there.
keep asking me if I want to join him, and I don't think I do, really.
No, I think you should just leave him to rest.
I think I'm happy
right where he is.
This side of the floor.
Exactly.
This landscape is so beautiful, and I'm lucky to be visiting Pentillie in the early autumn. Just the right time of year to go foraging for sloe berries in the hedgerows. What I didn't realize was that the hedgerows are surrounded by cows.
I just want to tell you that I do have a massive fear of cows, like massive, like I'm tapping right now.
Gather.
So I have to, like it's not fake, like this is for real. Like that
is frightening.
Makes me want to vomit.
Oh no,
It's fine, but no, I'm not going to do that on you because I really like this.
Yeah, well, and your wellies. Yeah, don't make a mess of your new wellies. Come on.
So
you're right to have a fear of cows, but these are okay. We've put the dog in the car. They are mummies and babies. That's also a thing to be frightened of. But they're chilled. They're happy. They've got over their being super inquisitive. Okay. We've got our wranglers, and we'll just shout and be bigger than them if they come for lunch.
Is that what you do?
Yeah, but they're vegetarian too. They don't want us.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
We need to pick some sloes.
We need to pick some sloes.
Is that all right? I'm here.
Yeah.
I'll pick you up. I'll run. Okay. I'm bigger than you.
Okay, so these...
Are you familiar with sloes?
So here's the thing, to be perfectly honest, and that's what I'm all about, obviously, but you know, when I first moved to this country, and we would, you know, we would have the shoots at Mapperton, or we'd go on a shoot, and there's this thing called the Levinses, right? Which you know very well. And people would always offer sloe gin. And then when they gave me the sloe gin, I was confused because it wasn't clear. And then I didn't understand. They said, no, but it's from sloes. And I'm like,
it makes you quite slow.
And I was like, what are sloes?
Try one.
I don't think we have sloes in America. Or I'm sure we...
Blackthorn, I don't know, maybe do.
Maybe we don't.
What do you think?
I'm trying to stay in the present moment here.
What do you think? Is your mouth puckering?
Yeah. It's hard to talk now.
You're very brave, you didn't have to do that.
Well, no, I've never tasted one before.
Well, there you are.
So I was trusting you.
Sorry. It was worth it. Your face is pretty picture. They're very tannic, so they're very, whatever that, you know, now you need a glass of water and your lips are never going to feel the same. But they've got that great acidity, so they make a great, I don't know, what do you call it? A liqueur, I guess. So add to a bit of gin or a bit of, or vodka if you wanted to, and some sugar.
So how many sloes do you need to make a bottle of gin, sloe gin?
Some. Some sloes, some gin, some sugar, in the quantities you decide.
I'm pleased Sammy is here to protect me from the cows. but she is also a seasoned forager for sloes. You need to know what you're picking. It's said that sloes are best picked after the first frost when they are slightly softer. Southwest Britain is rich in archaeological evidence of ancient settlements. Stone circles are believed to have served a ritual and ceremonial purpose, with their position connected to the alignments of the sun and moon. Here at Pentillie, a stone circle dominates this area of the estate where you can see for miles.
So this must be quite historical, this stone
circle.
Right.
Well,
Was this
well,
like
this
wizards, like Stonehenge?
Sort of. It is the oldest unadulterated stone circle in Cornwall.
Okay.
So it's quite ancient.
That's ancient.
It's unadulterated because my father built it in 2017.
You're kidding me.
So it is the oldest unaltered stone circle in Cornwall, but not like minions on Bodmin, which has had stones fall over and be picked up and all the rest of it. This one's unchanged since it was built 4 years ago.
Oh my God. So why did your father build this?
Because it's an incredible spot, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But a reason to get people to come up here. So when we've got guests coming to stay, they would walk all around the gardens, but there was no real reason to get them up into a field full of cows. So we built the stone circle. So he built the stone circle, but also Dad's absolutely fascinated with the history of, you know, when we're on Dartmoor or walking on Bodmin, he's always like, oh, I wonder who walked here. I wonder why they did this. I wonder what are those tracks in the stone? Why did they this? How did they do that?
And does the circle have any meaning behind it, or he just, and with the stones, it was just something he's been contemplating for a while?
They don't really represent anything, except that these stones, the ones further out,
yes,
are kind of the leader stones, to get you up from the garden, but also where the sun rises in the height of summer. No, winter.
Right.
Hang on. Summer. Yes, going back that way. Winter. And then there's one down over there for summer.
It's your dad's stone circle. I mean, this is just
Ted's stone circle.
Ted's stone circle. Okay. Well,
So,
has anybody
cowpats
done
and all.
yoga before in the stone circle? Do you know of? Could we be the first?
I haven't. I can't really do very good yoga.
We can
I've got
put
some sort of stretchy legs.
I know. I put mine on too. So I put the slows in there.
Yeah.
We can do some sun salutations.
Oh, good.
And that will, in one sense, sort of like, you know, make these slows produce fantastic slow gin.
Do you think it'll have like anti-cold properties and all
It's going to have
sorts of
tons of
things?
antioxidants. It's going to boost our immune
and our energy and conquer our fear of cows.
Conquer my fear of cows.
Your fear of cows.
Exactly. Okay,
Yeah, good.
so we're just going to stay standing.
Yep.
So we're going to
Perfect.
inhale, sweep the arms up.
Where better with the sun setting to do some yoga? And I think I need it after being in this field with the cows.
Hands together, exhale, heart center.
Amazing.
I feel better.
I love that. Thank
And
you so much.
do I look calmer?
Yeah, you do.
Okay.
Yeah, this is good. We've got good.
And these are going to be the best tasting,
The best slow gin, for sure.
Pentillie has ever made.
Back at the castle, I'm happily meeting up with Sammy's husband, Mark, who actually works in the gin business and has made me a very welcome and refreshing gin and tonic. He's just the person to show me how to make some slow gin.
All right, you can see your wife picked a lot.
Amazing.
I'm afraid there were cows, and so Sammy learned about my fear of cows, so I was picking one and then looking, and then picking another one and looking. But so this is from your wife, really.
Well, that's brilliant. You've done a sterling job there, so thank you. They look amazing.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit more, because as the American, when I first moved over here, I had never heard of sloes. I think maybe we call them something else in America.
Okay.
And I definitely didn't know what sloe gin was. And in fact, the first time somebody handed me some sloe gin, I didn't think it was gin because of the color of it.
Ribena.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what is this? Some black currant? I asked for a gin, and because that's what you think. You think of it as clear.
Yeah.
So the concept of sloe gin is?
It's one of those things that you sort of, well, as a sort of gin drinker, you look forward to in the winter. This is essentially a blackthorn berry. White flowers in the spring, and then you get this sort of surge of lovely little berries that you wouldn't want to eat them. They're really tart.
Sammy had me try one, and
really?
I was just like, sure thing, and then I was like, I couldn't even, lick my lips after that.
It's really dry. But you can do lots with it. So either what we're about to do, make a sort of a slow gin. It's more a sort of slow gin liqueur. Because we're going to be adding in sugar, which sort of affects the ABV. So what I've got is some supermarket gin.
Okay, so it's fine just to, in one sense, pick any gin and put it in there to make your slow gin, your homemade slow gin.
There is something you have to do first, though. Okay.
Don't tell me I have to eat all those.
And you have to prick every single one.
Do you?
Yeah, because you need to get the
prick it, like prick?
Yeah, to release the flavour.
So I just prick?
Yeah.
Like, is that good enough?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, it doesn't need to be like sliced?
Nope.
Prick, okay.
Or, there's a cheat.
Okay, what's the cheat?
You throw it into the freezer beforehand, and basically the fact that it's super cold in there will basically break down the skins. So it will release the flavour. So I've saved you a massive task.
Okay, I'm freezing it overnight, and then, so you can do this the quick way in one sense.
Yeah.
Well, it's popular here, especially for shooting.
Yeah.
Right? And so you're out on your 11s, and everybody has slow gin. That was my first introduction.
Was it? Most people will sometimes start when you're drawing pegs at the beginning of the morning. They'll give you a top glass with your slow gin in. Oh. You then have to drink it, and at the bottom of your top cup is your peg number. So you start quite early.
I haven't been to one of those shoots. Now I feel like I've been cheated.
So I'm going to pop those in there. So
early.
it's there's people who just enjoy it for what it is, but yes, it is synonymous with shooting or field sports, or it's just one of those sort of things that people really enjoy.
Yes.
Most people say with slow gin, it's a third, a third, a third.
Okay.
So a third fruit, a third sugar, and then a third your gin.
Okay.
But I tend to sort of increase my fruit a little bit and reduce the amount of sugar that I put in initially, because once you put the sugar in, and if you make it too sweet, it's too syrupy, and so you can always add more sugar to it at a point in time.
Okay. And are you tasting it while you're adding?
That's a really important aspect of making slow gin. You have to taste it at least once a week.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay, so don't look at the label.
No. It's just gin. It's just gin.
Do you want to do it?
Okay, yeah, so I'm going to pour it in.
So just pour it in.
Okay. I'm going to make sure. Oh, there we go.
That's it.
Okay. So this is...
And just keep going.
And just keep... So I'm pouring the whole thing in.
Yeah. We're going to fill it all the way up to the top.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, leave a bit of space for some sugar.
Okay. Oh, wow. So this is going to make quite a lot of slow gin, or not really?
Yeah, it will.
Look, it's already turning the color. Fantastic. So we're going to get 3 in here. No.
Yeah, possibly.
Oh, how wonderful. And then how long does this need to stay in?
So you have to sort of turn it every couple of days. So give it a bit of a sort of shake up, because you want the sugar to dissolve.
Yeah.
And again, it just helps to sort of move everything around. So I reckon probably 3 months, and you're just adding the sugar.
Fantastic. This is how you make your own slow gin.
So it just means you have to come back.
I know, I am.
Try it.
I've already invited myself. I am coming back. I mean, who wouldn't want to come back here? I mean, this is brilliant. I mean, it's just so magical here. How wonderful.
Let me put a little bit more gin in, and then we'll just give it a shake, and then you've got to put it into somewhere sort of dark, a dark sort of cupboard.
So dark cupboard, and then you check on it every...
So give it a shake every couple of days.
And then taste it after 6 weeks.
Yeah, just see how you're getting on. Whether you need to... I forgot the cork, but...
Lovely. Oh, it's rather pretty. Fantastic. So then this just needs to go into a dark...
Yeah, just settle. We'll put a cork on it, and then that's that, done.
Okay, great. Well, should we just sit and drink?
Yeah.
and watch...
Cheers.
And watch the
Slowly happening.
Exactly. Amazing, Mark. Thank you.
Pentllie Castle has undergone many changes since it was built for Sir James Tilley in the late 17th century. But one treasure that has kept ticking since then is up in the tower overlooking the croquet lawn. And I'm just in time to give Sammy a hand.
The aptly named clock tower. There we go. We're going up to wind the clock, which happens every Friday. Wait until I've got up here.
It does. Okay. You're much quicker than I am, I suspect, because you do this how many times a week? Oh, it's about to go. Fantastic.
Ready. It's on time.
Just in time.
Yes.
This is obviously, I mean, this is quite ancient. Well,
older than you and I.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine.
Exactly.
It's got grey hairs than me.
And so what does it date back to?
This is 1788. And the bells, I just donked my head. The bells, so which this one isn't the one that dongs, but we can just dong this one for... That was a bit louder than I expected. So that one's just if you need to ring a ding dong, but the one on the top, they're both 1705. And there's a few more down in the cellar. So James said he must have had like an array of bells, perhaps.
Yes.
The bell that's on the roof, which is the one that donged at 10, is 1705.
It's 1705.
But the clock itself is 1788.
Right. So it must have had to be repaired at some point. So you come up here how often?
Once a week.
Once a week?
Friday mornings normally.
Right.
Not always me, I confess. It is sometimes Steve the gardener, who's a legend and comes and keeps us on time. But basically what we've got here is two great big reels with wire on.
Yes.
And if you look up here, so they come out of here and then onto a pulley, and each one goes down that long tube. Can you see it down,
yes,
down, down?
I can.
And they've each got a big weight on the bottom of it.
They do.
So to wind it up, we get a week's worth of wind if we... Are you ready?
Yeah.
You can do this actually. Slot it onto there and then wind it. And I can never remember which way you wind it, not that way.
This way.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Come on, Shira!
Okay. Oh my. And then it will tell me when it's done?
We'll look up there. We'll see the weight come up to the pulley. You just don't want to
You do this every... Sammy.
There's a reason why I have bigger shoulders than you.
Okay, now I'm getting my groove. Oh my goodness.
Come on, faster! And now look here, it's coming up. So we just want to stop it when it gets to about there.
So where should I stop?
Now, stop.
Okay.
There we are. So if it goes further, then it gets all clunked up and then it's a problem. But this is the hefty weight. I don't actually know how heavy that is. And then there's the other one down the bottom still that we need to
do. This is much easier from here.
Hang on, you're nearly here.
Oh, I am. I'm much faster on this one. Done.
Well done.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
That was
now catch your breath.
Quite invigorating, actually.
So there we are. The clock is now wound for another week. So this, if you were down below, you can just pull that and dong the bell if you want to.
Oh, I might have to do that.
Or you can do it here if you'd like to. You can sort of
Okay.
dong me down the stairs. Or I could dong you down the stairs.
I'll dong you down the stairs. There we go.
In the early 19th century, the landscape designer Humphrey Repton developed grand designs for large country houses and their estates, producing drawings and plans in what were known as Red Books. Ted has kindly agreed to show me the Red Book produced for Pentillie.
In 1810, the family had a huge amount of money and they decided to enlarge the house greatly.
Wait, your family had a huge amount of money in 1810. Okay.
It's all gone now. and build 3 extra wings in the house. But one of the things they did was get a guy called Humphrey Repton, who was a very famous landscape designer, to come and advise. And he did 5 houses on the River Tamar, and one of which is Pentillie. And the way he operated was to produce a red book, which could be in this format, or it could be much smaller, but we're lucky we've got a big red book.
Yes.
And he recorded what was here in a series of drawings.
Okay, so this is...
says that it was done...
So during his period, though, he was well known. I mean, he was sought after.
Yes,
so
he did a total of 230 houses. And the red books are sort of collector's pieces. They should stay with the house, but quite a lot of them
were sold or
have gone from the house.
Right.
They're worth
yes, of course,
of course. Money.
So he's come here.
And this is what he saw. This was the layout of the house. In grey was what was already there of the house. This was the original tower, I think, on the terrace. Sheep pasture going down towards the river. And these were the outbuildings, the stable court and the gardens at that stage were very much closer.
But so he was hired for this.
Yeah.
But he was right. So only wealthy families could hire him.
Yes.
To produce this red book.
Yep.
Right. And the red book served the purpose for
design drawings.
Design drawings is what it was.
And the owner could either say, yes, let's do that, and use the red book as the blueprint, or they could say, don't think we really want to do that.
Right.
It's just the same as you employ an architect or a landscape designer now.
Exactly, but I love how he's just written here, this lawn to the east may be fed by sheep, as that is to the west, or, if not deemed too large, for a rosary or flower's garden.
He went into a lot of detail about it. He did a couple of paintings. That one is as he saw the castle when he arrived. Got the river here, and he came up with an idea of that.
Good, it's like a flap.
You lift the flap out of the way, and you get a much more imposing castle.
You certainly
and
do.
You've got battlements on it or crenellations. And the parkland, these were fields, and the mausoleum being up here. And he said the fields look just like fields. They don't look as if they're the park of a big house. So get rid of the hedges, but leave the trees. And you can see these trees in lines, and some of these trees are still there. His idea was that a view that's just a view is boring. There's no space.
There's no texture.
There's no scale to it.
Right.
And so he says you need to plant trees
so
you
he
can
did.
Look at a view. And you planted trees in a set way, so you had the darker trees closer to the house and the lighter further away. So when you looked in, it framed the house.
Right.
And when you looked out, the world opened up in front of you. Because the house was designed to be impressive from the river.
Absolutely.
Because that was the main thoroughfare in 1810.
This is how he saw it.
Yep.
And then how he wanted it to be seen.
Yep. And it's very similar to that now.
Oh yes, it's very imposing. Look at that. And when he presented his red book to your ancestors, when they saw this, is this what they had intended to do in the end?
No, they didn't follow Repton's advice. I think they'd inspired them, and they got a guy called William Wilkins, who had been involved in St. Paul's Cathedral, to design a house.
And look, you can see again lots more trees, many, many more trees.
And the house was a lot bigger. It had these 3 extra wings going out. The front door was now where the drive is. And it was a nightmare. It had 18 bedrooms and 1 bathroom.
Yeah, that's a nightmare.
So the mornings weren't good. You needed to be up first.
Exactly.
And no heating. So the plans for the house, the black is already there.
Yes.
Or was there. He said leave it. But the grey, it was what he suggested that should be built.
Fantastic.
You've got Mrs. Cox's room there. I presume that was
scullery, larder, cook's pantry,
servants' hall, a grand hall here.
What a fantastic and wonderful reference. A real
and it's
treasure.
Fun that
it's
it
a treasure.
stays with the house.
Yeah, it stays with the house.
Because without the house, it has no, to my mind, no value at all.
It's wonderful that you've kept it here, and I've been able to look at it. Fantastic. Oh, thank you, Ted.
Not at all.
How special. If you can see right behind me, that is the moon. It's just made its appearance and it's just incredible. Full moon, extraordinary color, and really just capping off the most fantastic day here at Pentillie. I'm getting ready for supper. I can't wait to spend the night in my room, but today's day out has been sensational. So really from just arriving here, you know, picking up the confetti, blowing it away, spending time with Sammy, that extraordinary sun salutation to help me with my fear of cows, and picking the sloes, making some sloe gin with Mark. I mean, so much in one day, spending time with Sammy's father, Ted, at the mausoleum, and of course, the wonderful military wall with Sarah, and that lovely walk in the garden, and being able to really experience what veterans are able to experience here as well. I couldn't even have imagined what today would have been like, and it has just exceeded all of my expectations. You know, Sammy and her family are just one of a kind, and to be here at this really loving family environment and around such a supportive community, and of course that just says it all right there. So I'm off to dinner, and then I'm gonna sleep really well tonight.
Next morning, Sammy and I are up at dawn for a chilly swim in the River Tamar. It's a wonderfully exhilarating ending to my visit.
It's not too bad.
What do you think?
Well, it's
better than I was expecting.
I feel that it is warmer than the air.
I think you're right, actually. Yeah.
It is. I mean, breathe, get oxygen in. So all of a sudden, it's getting the oxygen in.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is spectacular, and it feels. What's the word I'm looking for? What does it feel like?
Sort of silky, does it? The water this morning.
It feels. Yes, it is. Is it always like this?
No, not always. Sometimes it feels really thin and like it's not holding you up. Other days it feels rather like this. You could swim for hours.
You could. Oh my! I could swim for hours if my legs and arms would allow me to do that.
Shall we go to Devon?
Yes, please.
Let's do it. Let's head to Devon.
But so the tide is obviously high.
Yeah, so it's slack water at the moment. So we've not got too much flow going either way, so we can go straight across to Devon.
Right. All right.
Enough?
Yes. I think I'm ready for a hot bath and a coffee. Oh my goodness.
This sleepiness.
I'm definitely wide awake.
Fun, huh?
It was just amazing. Woo.
Trusty sun doing its trusty thing.
Okay.
Amazing.
This is extraordinary. I would be doing this every day. I am definitely warming up right now, which is really nice. The coffee's helping, the sunshine. But I mean, what I have to say, spectacular day out for me. Coming here was just a treat because it was just different, because I really got to see you running the castle, but doing it so extraordinarily well with the leaf blower, but also, and managing, the weddings and the shoots that you have coming up and the guests that you have staying, and still keeping, Pentillie working and in the family.
Yeah, well...
Tamu agrees. Tamu agrees.
She does agree. She's very happy to be here with all the guests. No, it's fun, and there are definitely good moments. I think also some days I run it better than others, but I think that's the same for everybody.
Just everybody, for all of us.
Deep breath, but
right, deep breaths and
and get it back in the river.
And get back in the river.
Whenever grounding.
Exactly.
There's the dog that's going to ruin my hair. My hair looks nice in this. But yeah, the dog comes and shakes on me regularly just to keep you grounded back in the real world.
That's right. Well, I'd be
We're very lucky, aren't we? Very spoiled.
Well, you do an amazing job, Sammy. So you deserve to be spoiled. Definitely.
Sweet. Well, it's nice to share.
The histories of Dean's Court and Wimborne Minster have been woven together for centuries.
I have never seen anything like this before.
With its chained library, stained glass, and royal tombs, Wimborne Minster is full of astonishing treasures. The beautifully restored 14th century astronomical clock with its mechanisms in the bell tower and 17th century quarterjack poised to chime out across the town.
And there goes the quarterjack.
Wimborne Minster is truly a wonder to behold.
When I married into the British aristocracy, it was the start of a wonderfully exciting journey. But it was also a little daunting. I became a Viscountess, and for an American girl from a small town outside Chicago, that was quite a shock.
I live with my husband Luke, heir to the Earl of Sandwich, and our family at Mapperton House in Dorset.
Living in a place like this is a joy, but also a challenge. And every day we're aware that we're preserving a very special part of Britain's heritage. Mapperton has opened up an extraordinary new world for me, and I can't wait to share it with you all.
So if you love castles and manors and stately homes as much as I do, please join this American Viscountess as I journey into the British countryside in search of some of Britain's finest historic houses.
I mean, it is beautiful, William.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this was the beating heart of really all the religious institutions in the south of England. But this is the Saxon Tower here.
Ah!
Because originally the Abbey, which was founded in 705 with the Minster, was almost completely wood. And
Wonderful.
There goes the quarterjack. And so when the Danes attacked and destroyed the place in 1015, they burnt the Abbey completely, but they didn't destroy the stone tower. And the central house at Dean's Court, the hall house buried inside Dean's Court, those are the only two pieces of Saxon Wimborne remaining because they're built of stone. And the Vikings left them alone.
And the Vikings left them alone.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Okay, let's go and have a look inside.
For 1,300 years, people have been visiting a building on this site.
Oh my goodness. I mean, every time I walk into a cathedral or church all across the UK, it just takes my breath away.
Yeah. And you've got this amazing sense of space that hits you as soon as you walk in.
Yeah.
With its mighty round Norman arches rising high above and beautiful medieval wall paintings, it's a reminder of how vividly decorated churches in Britain once were. Visiting a building like this is a magical journey into the past.
Let me show you something while we're here. This is an ancestor of mine, Thomas Hanam, with his wife Margaret, and he's got a very fine wall tomb. He's, by the way, the son of the Thomas Hanam who did the voyage to America and came back with the trees.
Who came back with the trees?
Yeah.
So that's his son?
That's his son.
Lovely. So he's buried here?
He's buried here.
Right.
Thomas is also buried here somewhere. He used to have a wall tomb somewhere in that corner of the church, but it vanished during Victorian renovations. We don't know.
But he is here.
Well, he might be somewhere. No.
I do, of course, have to ask, You know, obviously we saw the Saxon tower outside, but how old are really different elements of this minster?
Well, as with all these buildings, it's a mixture of different ages, but the earliest bit is mainly 12th century, and this is pretty much what you see. I believe that these beautiful arches here are actually earlier than the piers that they stand on, but it's been added to, chopped and changed around throughout its life, and of course the Victorians did a fair amount, I think, of changing around, as they always did with every church in the country.
But even if I look above, you know, and I see these extraordinary, but that beams up here, that looks relatively new.
Yes, I think that's probably a Victorian roof.
Right, that's a Victorian roof, right?
Yeah, but this you can see there's a gallery up here,
yes,
which you can access via the little Saxon tower.
Oh yes.
Yeah. No one's allowed up there anymore because of health and safety. And anyway, while we're here, let me show you. This is the Hanam family pew.
You have your own pew?
Yes.
Can I sit in it?
We can sit in it.
Do you really have your own pew?
Yeah. I have to say, this is more of a tradition than a sort of a contemporary thing, and it's a long time since I've sat in this pew myself. But this, I remember coming with my parents and quite often sitting in this pew, and we've got here a little lockable box where we keep our own hymn books.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Only you have the lockable box.
Yeah, that was for the Hanam hymn books.
Right.
Of course, the connection between Dean's Court and this minster is especially strong because of the Saxon foundation of the abbey, which stood on this spot beforehand. There was even a rumour that there was a brick tunnel that ran between the minster and Dean's Court. My father spent years looking for it. He never found. No, he found an electric cable when he used to do dowsing.
Right,
he was so excited when he found it. He dug down and found an electric cable. But I think the water table was so high there that you know, old Sir John in the 19th century was reputed to have walked it every Christmas Day.
But you're not buying it because of the water level.
He would have had to have swum.
Right. Yeah.
But the other thing about this spot is so lovely is that you get the best view of this amazing ceiling up there. It's not actually that old. It's painted in 1906.
Oh,
and we're not sure what was there before it.
Oh, right. So that is relatively, I mean, still
pretty new for here.
100 years, but pretty new for here.
Yeah,
That's exactly
but
right.
It is lovely in the middle of the service to be able to wander up and have a look at that. And in the middle, you've got the IHS for Jesus Christ as well, and the vine leaves.
The church is dedicated to St. Cuthberga, the royal princess and first abbess here who lived in the Saxon heart of Dean's Court. Generations of William's family have been at the center of life here for the past 500 years.
So your family really has, I mean, a massive connection here.
Yeah,
I mean,
everywhere you
hundreds
look.
of years, yes, exactly.
Yeah. For instance, we're in what's called St. George's Chapel, but this amazing altar frontal was made and embroidered by my great-great-great aunt Amy, the widow.
The widow?
Yes, who we've discussed. She must have spent all of her spare time doing needlework. And this particular altar piece is signed at one end 1851 when she started it, and signed off 1891 when she finished it. So it took her 40 years.
It took her 40
years.
Years.
There's a huge amount of work in
and
there.
If I remember, John, her husband, was killed in 1861. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right, so she started this 10 years.
She was 10 years into it when he was killed, but she carried on, And she's encrusted it with semi-precious stones, including that huge opal, I think.
Oh yes, beautiful.
In the middle. I like to think of her sitting in the green drawing room,
yeah,
embroidering away and
well,
making
exactly.
this over
well,
those
Lottie's
decades.
doing the exact same thing. I mean, it's
lovely.
just
so,
fantastic.
So nice. Some
Wonderful
things don't
to
change.
see. Incredible.
So there it is. Wonderful, isn't it?
I mean, just brilliant.
Yeah.
At the west end of the building, William is keen to show me a rare treasure which has kept time for centuries.
So now we're heading for a really interesting bit of the
well,
the
it's
church.
all fascinating to me.
It's all fascinating, but we're under the bell tower here. And you'll notice this amazingly beautiful clock here. which is an astronomical clock.
Is extraordinary.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. We think...
What does that date back to?
Well, it was first documented in 1409, but it could be a century earlier, but we don't know. But it's at least that old.
But that's quite unusual, isn't it? Something like this. I mean, it's just so...
Yeah, I mean, clocks were unusual for a start.
Well, exactly. I've literally never seen a clock like this, but also... Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Wonderful. But, this is, a good... Well, let me do my maths there. 800 years old, nearly.
Getting
there.
Onto that. Yeah, I mean, clocks of this age are very unusual indeed, and you often find them in churches. I mean, Salisbury Cathedral's got one of the oldest clocks in the world. But this is so interesting because it predates Copernicus, who was the first man to demonstrate that actually the sun was the centre of the solar system and the universe. And of course, before that, this was a very religious problem because the Earth was always considered to be the centre of the universe, and the moon and the planets and the sun were supposed to go around the Earth. And of course, that is represented here, where you get the Earth right in the centre. Then you have the moon showing its phases as it goes round.
Yes.
And then on the outside is the sun.
This wonderful piece was restored to its vibrant beauty in the 1970s. However, there's more to this clock than meets the eye.
Let's head upstairs, shall we?
Yeah.
It's quite tight.
It says bell ringers only. Am I going to ring a bell?
We're going to see some bells. Here we are.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
There is the clock mechanism.
Fantastic. This is not what I was expecting. To come up that little spiral, minuscule staircase and all of a sudden to arrive this. And this is a proper room.
Yeah.
Proper room.
Proper room.
Wonderful.
This is the mechanism, and this is Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
Hi. Who's going to tell you about it?
Oh my goodness. So the clock that I've just seen downstairs.
It's driven by this. This is the mechanism that, if you like, there's a long rod that goes into the back of the clock through the floor, and it makes the gears turn. This is not as old as that clock you saw, the astronomical clock. This mechanism is from 1743.
Okay.
So much more recent.
Right.
But it also drives the sounding of the quarterjack, which you may have seen on the outside of the tower. Every 15 minutes, a mechanism trips and he rings the quarter hour strike. On the hour, it strikes the bells like Big Ben strikes the hour.
Strikes the hour on the hour. So as far as repair and winding, you must be winding.
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah. I love a good wind.
Find it. Yes. What happened was that...
Oh, goodness.
This is the winder.
Oh, my goodness.
This is the winder that we used to use to wind up the clock. But in the 1990s, the chap who was employed to do it was getting a little bit old. So we replaced him with these whirring electric winders.
Oh, I see. That's...
Oh, so that, okay. So this isn't even used anymore?
No, but we wanted to retain the old technology.
Of course.
Because, in fact, I always say this to people, we've got the maybe 1390s clock downstairs, we've got 1743 clock here, and the 1990s electric winders. Guess which one keeps breaking down?
The 1990s. That's exactly right.
Everybody gets that right.
That's right. That's exactly right. You can't rely on...
That's right.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness.
Ooh.
Look. Thing.
It's dramatic.
It's lovely.
12 o'clock already.
Wonderful.
Oh, look at these. We've got some little weights coming up.
It's right on time.
Good we did this at 12 o'clock and not 1 o'clock.
That's exactly That's so true. But one can never tire of, the sound of the bells. They just, I don't, or maybe you do.
No, I love them.
I love them, I do too.
In 1850, they had to remodel the belfry to squeeze, I think, more bells in.
Ah.
So they had to break the belfry out, basically, and rebuild it. And the wood that they took out, which was very beautiful medieval oak, was turned into 12 Gothic chairs, each with a beautiful bell carved on top. Now, the Minster's got, I think, 2. Have you
That's
got
right.
2 of them here?
That's
But
right.
we have one at Dean's Court, which was in the library.
Oh, yes,
That
yes.
one in the corner.
Of course.
Yeah. And
wonderful.
we've got that because it was given when these used to be housed in the grammar school, and when the grammar school closed in the 1980s, they had to get rid of the chairs. So they were distributed amongst the 12 governors. And my ancestor John was one of the governors, so we got one of the chairs. But they are made from the belfry. Yeah.
Wonderful. From medieval wood.
Medieval, very old oak.
Yeah.
We don't
Fantastic.
quite know how old oak, but,
How
yeah.
extraordinary. Well, thank you so much
Not at all.
for really giving me a little history lesson here. But also, it was just really nice to hear it ring so many times.
Just before we leave, you'll notice all the ropes here.
Yes.
They've got apparently 13 bells up there altogether. And what's so nice for us is that 10 years ago they added a couple to the collection, little bells. And it's about a year after my father died, so we donated one in his memory.
So he's up there
ringing
somewhere,
away for
ringing
him.
away.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Back down the spiral staircase, there's more to discover.
Right, so there's one other thing to show you. And this is actually one of the most special things in the Minster. So we're going to go and have a look now.
Very excited.
Through the vestry, and there's
Wonderful.
Judith, who's
Hello.
going to take us up.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, I just spotted chained library. I have no idea what that is. I've never heard of a chained
Never heard of a
library.
chained
No,
library.
I don't think we have it in America. You know, we're only a few hundred years old. We certainly don't, I don't think I have a chained library.
I bet your mind is buzzing with
It certainly is. I'm thinking, what on earth? I have never seen anything like this before. I mean, it really is. I almost thought downstairs when it said chained library, I just thought that there would be just sort of a gate around it, but these are literally chains.
Yes.
On books. But
Yep.
why is that?
Books were very expensive when this library was set up. And whilst they wanted people in the town to be able to use it, they didn't want them taking books away and forgetting to bring them back again. So it was a fashion at the time to actually have rooms with books chained.
And what period are we talking about here?
The first books arrived in 1686.
Okay.
And it was formally chained 7 years later.
And it was chained because they found that books were disappearing.
Yes.
So this was their security system,
Yes,
really.
exactly.
This was the chains were their security system. So who would come to the chained library? Just people from the church, or?
It was set up for the people of the town.
Yes.
You had to be a shopkeeper, or what they rather snootily called the better class of person to be allowed in. We think that meant you just had to be able to read.
Right.
Because
a lot of people couldn't read.
No, exactly.
No. Right. But the people who could read, they would come here.
They were allowed to come
They were
in.
allowed to come. And so what type of books were they reading?
Virtually all the theological works of the time.
Yes.
They would have read perhaps something on gardening.
Oh.
Something on how to build a house.
So quite practical.
A way to bring themselves out of perhaps poverty and have a
Yes.
new job.
Yes.
Learn a new skill. So it was quite a nice idea.
Wonderful. And do you take these out? Are you allowed? Am I allowed?
We do
Are you
on
allowed?
we do on certain occasions, but
because I just would love to
I'll
peer
get
in
this gentleman's companion because he's quite funny. He was round about the time of Samuel Pepys.
So Samuel Pepys is I have to mention, is a cousin of my husband's family.
Oh, really?
Edward Montagu.
You see, he's got the statutory wig.
Yes. Well, who is this?
This is Mr. Ramsay.
Right, this is Mr. Ramsay, who wrote this book.
Who wrote the book. And he starts off by telling his friends, don't marry a pretty woman. Because after 5 years of marriage and 4 children, she won't look anything like she did when you married.
No.
So, and if she's too
You wouldn't
pretty,
get away with that today.
No. After all this, she wouldn't look like that. And if she was absolutely beautiful, one of your friends might well want to take her away from you. So it was better to start off with something just quite ordinary.
Just plain. Just a plain Jane, as we would say. That
Yes.
is really what he wrote. So I see this was written in 1672. But I just love the title, The Gentleman's Companion, or A Character of True Nobility and Gentility. Brilliant. Well, thank you for showing me that.
I'm not sure that's a book I'll be reading cover to cover. This is an amazing place, one of the earliest public libraries in the UK.
So what else do we have here then in these cases? Because this is obviously very protected. These are the
Yes.
special pieces.
Yes. Probably the seal of Elizabeth I, which would have been on a charter like the one over on the wall there.
Yes.
This is Charles I's seal. This one is made of beeswax. So it's
beeswax.
It's very fragile.
It's made of beeswax and it's survived.
Yeah. The actual charter is now in Dorchester Museum because they have special conditions for keeping these things.
Of course.
They'd like that one as well, but we've managed to hang on to that so far.
Wonderful.
And it would have hung from a ribbon, like
Yes.
that would it, from the document.
From the document, right.
It's
From
carved
here.
on both sides. She's on her horse this side, and if you could turn it over, you would find she's on the throne of England and she's got the orb and sceptre in her hands to show who she
It is actually carved,
Wonderful.
not cast.
Carved.
It wasn't cast from a mould.
Amazing.
Gosh.
It's just extraordinary. Elizabeth I is, very recognizable here 500 years later. The ruff in particular, but she's very recognizable. Even without having seen, that's who I would have, definitely guessed, and it would have been quite a good guess. Elizabeth I, it's just extraordinary, especially made from beeswax, that it has actually survived. Because we don't have, this history to me as the American is just so extraordinary and unbelievable. That here I'm looking at something, almost 500 years old. My country is not even 300 years old. That this has still been preserved, really, in such the wonderful state that it is. So thank you.
This has been an absolutely glorious visit. Although I have a feeling I've only skimmed the surface of the rich history here.